Um, I see. We're starting recording now.
All
Really
good.
nice. Okay. Thank you so much, Tim, for having this time with us, to talk about your squash coaching experience. I've got some questions to ask you to borrow your wisdom. The first one is, could you please share with us your experience as a college squash coach, concerning your past experience at different schools? Maybe you can start with that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's good to chat to you, and obviously I'm excited to see what you're doing with finding squash and squash all over the world. It's very cool. It's very exciting. Um, yeah. I mean, it's been a great. I've been coaching college squash for 8 years now, and I've been at a couple different schools now. I was the assistant coach at Yale for 4 years. I was the head coach of the Georgetown women's team for three, and now I'm in my first year as the head coach of the Connecticut College, both men's and women's teams here. And it's been great. I feel very, very lucky to make this my job. I mean, college squash was my favorite experience. Being both a junior squash player, high school squash player, college squash player, and pro squash player. This was by far my favorite experience. And so to be able to call this a job is really cool. And I genuinely very, very much love it. And I just love every bit of it. Yeah, I mean, you ask about a couple specific experiences. I mean, I think there's obviously those great team experiences that you love. When I was at Yale, when we had an awesome win with our women's team. I think it was my second or third year. I can't quite remember, but I know we had beaten Trinity, which was an awesome win at home, and that was fantastic. And the women's team had worked really hard to win that one, so that was great. I think about last year when I was with Georgetown. We had some a pretty decent regular season, but we were going into the national or say divisional team championships as the 3 seed, and we ended up playing some of the best squash of our season. We had peaked at the right time, and the team had worked very hard, and had come out and win the B division of college nationals was great, and I was really happy for my team and my group, and that was a really exciting experience. But yeah, looking forward to many more to come. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more, so I'm
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
excited about it.
Yeah, we'll invite you to talk about Connecticut College maybe at the end of the conversation to introduce to us about the squash program, the school in general.
Yep.
But talking about college squash, I know if you look around the globe, US
Mhm.
has the best squash programs with education, both high school and college.
Yep.
What do you think would be the success factor for US squash to have this kind of strong desire and enthusiasm around in the all around the US schools.
Yeah, I mean, I think, college squash is a lot of fun. The fact that you're getting to and high school squash as well, but, getting to play this individual sport in a team environment is very unique. High school is obviously a lot of fun. The teams are a little smaller. I think with high school it gets a little tough because sometimes you are still playing against your teammates in tournaments and individual events on the weekends and competing against those people for recruiting spots. When you get to college, it's a lot of fun because you're spending a lot more time with these teammates. You're traveling around, and it's a lot more just about the team results. And I think that's where it's really cool and exciting. Where I think college squash is hopefully going to continue to grow as an environment is, I think, obviously, getting more teams involved in college squash. There's a lot of club teams in college that you hope eventually will become varsity teams. I think as the CSA hopes to expand and grow, the more teams we have, I think that's great. And I always, and if you talk to a lot of coaches, I think they'll always say it's like, hey, the more teams we can have in the mix and be more competitive, the more interesting it is. I do think back to my time as a player where I played at St. Lawrence University, and my junior year it was St. Lawrence versus Trinity in the finals, which was the first time ever where a non-Ivy League school was in the finals of the national championship, which was really exciting. It was really interesting, and there was a lot of buzz around it. And I think the more you can have new schools kind of get involved, it's very cool. So.
Yeah. So picking on that point you just made about Ivy and non-Ivy, schools in the squash community, for international players in particular, when we talk
Mhm.
about US, college squash, I think probably there's a more interest or sort of what do you call that? appetite
bias,
to
I guess.
learn more about bias towards
Yeah.
the Ivy League, squash. Could
Yeah.
you give us a bit more like your understanding and the tips on, really looking at, broader, not just the Ivy, school for
Yeah.
squash?
I think there's a couple big things to keep in mind. First of all, just when it comes to all the schools that have squash, right? Every school that has squash in the US is a great school. Like that's the first thing I'll say. And a lot of times people get very much caught up in the brand name and what they think is the best school for them. And reality is what we always try and tell people is that it's all about finding the right fit, right? You want to go to college because you're looking to have fun, you're looking to enjoy it, you're looking to get a great education, you're looking to play squash, you're looking to make friends for life. Like a huge part of that is just making sure you find the best fit for yourself so that you can be successful. At the end of the day, you want to do well when you get to college, and I think sometimes people they try and fit a square peg into a round hole, and that's and that's honestly that's tough, and it makes their experience not as enjoyable.
Mm.
Um, so that's where I really feel and stress to people that you know um, finding that fit is very important. I like to tell people a little story about my sister, just in general, just because I think it's a good one. But my sister had a dream school. It was an Ivy League school. It was a school that she really wanted to go to, or at least she thought that she really wanted to go to. And basically, she applied. She'd gone through the college process, and she ended up not getting accepted to that school. But they told her that if she applied as a transfer, that she would get in. um, and she then decided to kind of pivot, shift around, and she was looking in a bunch of different schools. A lot of bigger schools, smaller schools, some down south, some up north, and really, she kept thinking in her mind, it's like, all right, well, like I think I know what I want here. I think I know this. And what ended up happening was is that she had said to me, it's like, oh, I'm never going to go to St. Lawrence where you're. I'm never going to do that. Sure enough, she comes up for a visit and she checks it out and she really likes it, and it was really cool. And she's like, huh, you know what? Maybe I could go here for a year and then transfer to the said Ivy League school. And and then she goes to St. Lawrence, has the best year of her life. And she had applied to that school and she did get in, but she ended up deciding to not leave. And she had the best 4 years of her life. She was able to play squash. She was able to have, a great education. She was very successful and got a phenomenal job afterwards. And the kicker to this story is that in her job after college, she was working with somebody who went to that Ivy League school. And in the meantime, she was asking her, "Oh, what was it like?" And it was really hard. I was really stressed all the time. It wasn't, enjoyable. And basically, my sister said, "That sucks. Like I had the best 4 years of my life, and look at where I am today. I'm in the same spot where I probably would have been." So, the name isn't everything, and I think that's something that's very important for people to recognize and realize. So, hopefully, that answers your question there a little
That's a
bit. But
great story. I think
yeah,
not many people have heard something like this or something similar like this. It's so
yeah.
so true, and I think I would like to interview her next time. I mean that's a real thing. I really
Yeah.
feel it's an important message to get across
Yeah.
to people's minds. It's not just the
Yeah.
name. It's really what you're going to experience and who you will really become after you go
Yeah.
through that education, right?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Cool. This weekend is the Canadian Junior Open, and next weekend is the US, which are the two biggest, junior squash tournaments in North America. And I
Mhm.
know lots of colleges, squash coaches and even high school coaches are going to those two events to maybe look around, find some potential candidates. So my next question is about really where you're recruiting,
Mhm.
especially for those international squash players
Mhm.
who probably don't have a US ranking or rating. And even they don't join this international, tournaments, like you can see them
Mhm.
in person. How do
Yep.
evaluate? Do you still find this is, they are welcome to apply? And what is the process of evaluation for those type
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
international players?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's it's always a challenge, right? Like, traveling, especially when you've got, school, exams, it can be hard to get out to these events. They're not always at the most convenient time of the year. And obviously, I always encourage people to play them just because, you want to give yourself as many opportunities and chances to get in front of these coaches. But if you can't make that doesn't necessarily mean you won't be able to get recruited. You have to think about things many years ago when before videos and all that stuff, like people were getting recruited by fax and phone calls, and that was just a very that was a very different time. But now we're very lucky in that we have things like videos. You've got live streams of matches and events, and that can be very, very useful to people. And I encourage anybody who's an international player to make full use of that. If you can record videos, take tape of your matches and showcase that. That definitely gives coaches a very good sense of kind of where you're at with your game. We always like to, be able to see where people are at. We like to see how people grow throughout a year. Not being afraid to take videos and stuff is very, very helpful.
Yeah,
And yeah, so that's really what I would say.
yeah,
So I would say, the more important things that, I would say to people as well is that, the academic side of things is really where, people should be very focused just because, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself as many opportunities as you possibly can. If you're solely focused on your squash and neglecting the academic side of things, then it's going to be a little harder for you to get recruited. Just because, like I said, you're dealing with a lot of the best schools in the United States. Squash is it's a way to help you get in, but it's not the only thing that's going to get you in, right? You still have to be academically viable for these schools to be able to accept you and take you. Because at the end of the day, these schools do not want you to fail when you get here. They want to see you succeed and do well. So that's a huge part of the recruiting process, is making sure that your academics are where they need to be.
yeah. I learned something about to be a good student athlete, you need to do four S. Squash is just one,
Yep.
I've been talking about, and the second one is definitely study
Hmm.
and social.
Yep.
You need to be like a person who is likable. You have your social skills, and last but not least is sleep.
Yeah.
Because you travel, you study, you play tournaments. Sometimes people are not having enough sleep. For young generation, that can be a pandemic.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I mean, that's great. That's actually the first time I've heard that, but it's so true. So true. I mean,
you need balance, even for squash.
you
College squash players, they need to manage. Balance these four S.
you really do. You really do. And it's really, really crucial. As you said, obviously the squash and the study part is, I think that's very well known and people know that, but especially the social side of things, right? You're becoming a part of a team and a group, and that's very unique. Right. And for a lot of people who have only played squash, right, maybe have never participated in a team sport, that can be a very, very new environment for them. And in order for college squash teams to be successful, they have to be they have to be a cohesive team. If you do not have a cohesive team, if you do not have a great culture, that's going to be very challenging for the teams and for the coach, and that can really hurt a team season and success. And obviously, as well, like it can hurt a person's experience. So, coaches are very, very, very conscious of the social side of things and how well a player is going to, you know, fit in with the team, right? And it's important that people, try and showcase that as they kind of go through this recruiting process. Show that you're able to interact with people and be honest, be upfront. All those good qualities and people that we're always looking for. That's just as vital as your squash and your academics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So when you are looking around, people usually get on their phones and get on the court.
yeah,
And
exactly.
sometimes it's only the opponent and the coach,
Yep.
even our parents. I mean, to
Yeah.
build around a social network and learn how to socialize as the
Yeah.
basic, skill, I think is so fundamental for any college, student to acquire, hopefully
Huge.
before they go into college, and so they can
Exactly.
enjoy their lives better.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's 100% true. And the last part you brought up was sleep too, and that's huge. That's massive, right? I mean, I never lied to people, right? Being a student athlete is it's a challenge, right? It's a great experience. It's incredibly rewarding, but if you don't take care of yourself and if you're not on top of those little details there, it's going to make your life very challenging. And so that's where I would say, making sure that you take care of the right things, especially the sleep, good healthy habits, is going to lead to a very happy, great experience. So
Yeah. So if you are not well, you cannot excel.
exactly correct.
So those are the wisdom I think I learned from other coaches and
Yes.
all around this community. Going back to the point about international players who
Mhm.
don't have US ranking, US maybe points
Yep.
or ratings. For example, last weekend there was a tournament in Kuala Lumpur. I
Hmm.
know lots of Asia-based players go there, went there to play that particular tournament. I
Hmm.
think this should be equivalent if you go and play those, international or even just regional tournaments. You videotape yourself. You have a good communication channel with the coaches. That should be equivalent to, domestic U.S. players or those who have the U.S. ranking. I assume
Yep.
that it should be a
Yep.
fair thing to say, right?
Yeah, very much fair. I mean, just in my years as being a college coach, I've been to the Hong Kong Junior Open. I've been to, a couple of events, in Asia, and we pay attention to these things, and we know the level that's getting played at these events. So it's obviously, if players are going to these events and they're able to take video and showcase themselves there, right? You may not have a US rating or anything like that, but that's, I always like to think the rating is just it's a tool, right? It's not everything. At the end of the day, it's funny. I was actually talking to one of my players yesterday about this, but a number doesn't quantify who a person is. And what they're able to do, especially once they get to college. I know several coaches who have, maybe chosen player of a slightly lower rating because they really liked what they were seeing from that person in terms of personality wise, their work ethic, how they mentally approach the game, and practices, and whatever it may be, right? That the things that are intangible, those are the things that coaches really do pay attention to. So I hate it when my players get super focused. I'm playing a 5'8" and I'm a 5'7". I don't know if I can. It's like, yeah, but you don't know what's happening on each and every day. Your rating may not reflect the great work that you've put in this week, and who knows, that person could be really having a bad day. Like, you just never know. So, but back to your sort of original point on international students, don't be stressing if you don't have a US rating or ranking. If you do, great. It's a good tool, but it's not everything. And obviously for us, what we do like though is that you're getting out there, you're challenging yourself, you're giving yourself that exposure, you're getting that experience, and I think that's a huge bit, because every chance you get to play, the best players around you and get out there, it's great experience. You're going to learn from it. So
Yeah. And
all
that's
good.
something I also learned from legend coach Mike Way. You should really appreciate your opponent because without them, you cannot develop yourself. You
Exactly.
should thank them for challenging you hard, even
For
you
sure.
lose, you know.
Absolutely. It's I've you learn a lot more from your losses, right? Quite often. So, yeah, it's very important that people enjoy the process of learning and growing, and because we as coaches, we're very passionate about your growth. We want to see you develop and grow over a 4-year period. And so if we can see people enjoy that and do that throughout their junior careers, it only means good things for when they get to college. So
Yeah, maybe one thing juniors should prepare is to make a list of their biggest losses and what they learn from those losses.
I,
That
what I'll tell you is, I honestly, I don't mind when, some people like to send me videos of them, only when they win. And frankly, I actually like it more when they send me videos of their losses, because it just means like, hey, like I have this video, I can watch it. I can tell that a person's like saying like, yeah, I feel like I'm learning from this match, even though I lost. It was a really good experience for me, and I truly don't mind it. Like it really, again, I care more about your 4-year growth period when you get to school than one result, one win that you may have gotten. And yeah, so that's what I would say there.
Yeah, and you mentioned something which is very interesting about looking at the growth journey of any athlete.
Hmm.
One critical point is about their mental, sort of mental skill or mental
Hmm.
capabilities as a
Yep.
squash player. How do you describe somebody who is mentally strong as a player? What are the characteristics to describe somebody with a strong mind?
Yeah, I think having good self-awareness, I think, is very, very crucial when it comes to growing mentally and developing and being mentally tough. Because if you're self-aware, right, you can make the adjustments that you need to throughout a game, throughout a match, and being able to check in with yourself and say, hey, I know maybe I'm getting too high, or if I need to pick myself up, I need to if I'm too low, right? Those are things I think are very, very important. What I always try and tell my players is that if we're going through these big waves of going up and down, I think Jonathan Power talked a lot about it, where it's like it's the fine little needle that you're trying to get into this green zone where if you're overstimulated, you start to put the blinders on, and we're not able to think clearly and think straight. If we're not aroused enough and we don't care, then all of a sudden we can get shocked and surprised, or maybe we're trying to fight things too much, and that's tough. So trying to get ourselves in that right spot where we can think clearly, but we're also engaged. We're also on top of things. That's the key thing. But like I said, being very self-aware is very, very, very important. And that can be hard sometimes. Sometimes you have to have honest conversations with yourself, and understand where you are. But that's a big maturity thing. I think some of that does come with time, but the earlier you can have those conversations with yourself is very important. Hopefully that makes sense.
Totally, totally. So I think I'm in the process of working with Todd Corbin. I don't know if you
Hmm.
know him.
I know
We're
of him. Yep.
developing a series of mental skills for junior players. Hopefully,
Hmm.
that's something will benefit more junior when they are new to this concept of mental skills. You
Yeah.
know.
I mean, your brain is a muscle, right? It's just like we practice, hitting drops, hitting drives, hitting boasts, whatever it may be, right? Really when we're out there, right? Our brain is the thing that's making decisions, and deciding what we do. And if we're not training that, you're not taking full advantage of everything. There's a phenomenal book called Mind Gym, like gymnasium, that I would call I
Daniel
would
Siegel, right?
yep, I would say to anybody who's a serious athlete should 100% take a look at this, because it's a phenomenal book. And I think there's one quote in there where the mind can make us play 20% worse or 20% better, right? And really, if we're not taking care of what's in between our ears, and not focused on that, we're always going to be playing lower than we really think we should be. So that
100%.
yeah.
So my son just lost to 2-3, and I think the last match was like his mind is no longer helping him much. He had a strong comeback, but
Hmm.
the last game was just hard because the mind is not giving enough, like this 20% drop.
Yeah.
So then,
Yeah.
very
and
true.
and and I'm fully, I'm fully how do I say, guilty of all these things, right? Like when I was a player, I had several times where it's just, either I was trying to fight the nerves, or I was overstimulated, trying to fire myself up when I needed to be calming myself down. It's it is a learning process. But hopefully everybody can kind of learn from those experiences, and the more we can take away from those things, I think it's better.
Yeah, the earlier you can learn, the more, sort of advantages you have over
Yeah,
others. Yeah.
exactly.
Cool. Well, I have another question for you. Is talking about your current role as the head
Yeah.
coach for Connecticut College. Maybe this you can introduce to us the school and also the
Mhm.
program you have, so that people get to know, the school and also the program.
Yeah. So Connecticut College is a small liberal arts school in southeastern Connecticut. We're right on the water in a great location. Southeast Connecticut's one of the nicest areas in the United States, and it's a very, I say I'm very happy to be living here. This is an area actually my grandparents live, so I spent a lot of time here growing up. But it's a phenomenal place. But yeah, so our squash program, having taken things over this year, it's been very exciting. I was obviously I'd been the head coach at Georgetown for the past couple of years, but over the summer, the athletic director here reached out to me, and they were very keen on really looking to grow their program, and I'll sort of call it give it a big revamp here, just because the school is making a very big commitment to athletics, right? They want to see their athletic teams be successful, and they're making some big changes around here. New facilities, particular squash. We have a new facility on the way. I can't share too much as to what exactly is going to happen, just because it's not public yet. But there's going to be some major changes to our squash facility, potentially including several glass courts. A couple of things that are very exciting. So that's very cool. But yeah, I mean, for me, my biggest thing is that I'm just really excited at the chance and the opportunity to help this program grow. We're really focused in terms of our ethos as a program is making sure that we teach excellence, and that look, there's going to be a lot of learning that comes along the way, but if we teach excellence and going about things the right way and being great teammates and being good people, we will be successful. We are part of the NESCAC League, so the New England Small College Athletic Conference, which is a very, very competitive Division III conference. We've got some of the best schools in the country here. Trinity, Williams, Amherst, Bates, Bowdoin, Colby. There's 11 schools in this conference, and it's a very, very competitive conference. But we're really excited to make a big push here. We want to really look to compete against some of these best schools, some of the best schools in the country. And yeah, it's right now we're taking baby steps to kind of get there, but we're certainly on our way to making that happen. So it's very exciting.
So looking at your current varsity team,
Mhm.
how many are from international? Do you have a rough
We have
number?
a few current international players. On our men's side, we have three. On our women, we don't have any currently. Obviously, our goal is to create a very diverse group of people from all across the world. Just because, if I think back to my sort of college squash experience, where I had players from all over the globe being a part of my team, you think about how different squash gets played all across the world, various styles and different ways that people approach the game. If we can create a very diverse group of people, and diverse styles of gameplay, it's going to make us very, very strong across the board. We're going to be able to learn from each other, grow from playing each other, and trying to create a great environment for people to really experience all different types of squash, and that's very exciting. Um, so that's my sort of recruiting goal, is to create that sort of environment, and again, with people who share those qualities of putting in hard work and putting in their best effort and being great teammates. That to me is how I think we'll be successful. I especially the teammate side of things, right? If we can recruit good people, our our team is going to be as strong as we possibly can, right? I want people coming into practice each and every day and saying like, "Hey, this is a great group of people. I want to work as hard as I can for them each and every day." Um, and if we enjoy practice, right, we're going to have fun. We're going to be successful. And it's going to be great. So,
Right. So final thing, finding squash is the catalyst for kind of growing junior squash, and also to bridge between international players and with the US, colleges and high schools. Do you have any
mhm.
wishes for us or any advice for finding squash as last bit of your input?
I'm just really excited as to what you all are doing. I think the more opportunities and chances that we can give people to connect with schools in the U.S., high school or college, but also giving people the chance to experience different places to be able to play. I think that's awesome. I think back to, my days of being a junior player and even now, right, as I've, traveled across the world, you know, squash is such an amazing game for meeting such great and amazing people. It's also a great way to learn about different cultures in different places. When you get to meet locals and meet people who you may not have met otherwise and get to understand them and understand their cultures and where they come from. And I think it's just such an amazing part of this game. We were such a global game. And so when people can have the chance to do that, it just makes us better people overall. So I'm really excited as to what you all are doing, and it's great to see. So I applaud you for for what you've done, and this is really great. And yeah, I'm just excited to see more and more people from across the world, look for a chance to come to the US and get to experience this great environment that we've created. So yeah, just welcome everybody to come on over and get to check this thing out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. So I think collectively we can all grow the sports together and enjoy the sports,
Yeah,
cross-culturally, and also to get people to really enjoy their, I think, friendship, passion for sports,
yeah,
passion for connection, with others, and the US for sure, is one of the top, squash, so I think options for students.
yeah.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. The other thing I would say as well, it could be a great tool for even US players, right? When we're, not just internationals coming here, but for US players when they, study abroad or going different places, like, it's an amazing chance to kind of get a chance to see different parts of the world.
Yeah.
I think
We're
about,
launching
yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry, go
we're
ahead.
launching our Funding Squash Foundation soon. So the goal is really to get people to do more than just what they are on the court. I think
Hmm.
as going back to a point, like US, squash players, students, all around, if they can think about what in front of them is not given, something they have
Yeah.
to earn,
Hmm.
through the hard work. And all those people, they don't have, there are many people out there, they cannot even afford to buy a racket. To
Yeah.
even they don't have never heard about these sports. So if you can
Yeah.
do a little bit of something to help those people, I think that can be really powerful for young people in
Very,
general.
very. That's great.
So I'll keep you posted.
That sounds
So
great.
thank you so much, Tim. I really enjoyed this conversation. It's short, it's on time. I hopefully it's not too much taking your recovery day. I guess you're traveling,
No, it's all good.
arriving late.
All good.
I cannot make this US trip. But I'll introduce my friend Gino to you. I'll send you
Okay.
my WhatsApp. I just put you in touch with him.
Perfect. That sounds great. Really
We'll
appreciate
make this video edited and I send you sort of a clip and
it.
after you approve, we'll put on our social media 360. So people can
Awesome.
know it from all around the globe, Egypt, China, Korea. Hopefully we're doing the right thing for the right people.
That's awesome. No, I love it. Appreciate it. Thank you, Thomas. This was a lot of
Okay,
fun.
thank you so much. Enjoy
No,
your
thank
day.
you. Yeah, you
Talk
too.
soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.